Okay, so right now we're in the Pocket Greenhaven neighborhood of Sacramento. We're just, I guess, would be east of the Sacramento River. There's a levee we'd normally be on, but right now it's closed for construction. But Sacramento is such a good community to bike in. It's got all sorts of trails, lots of places to ride, fun places to take your, if you have a road bike, lots of places to road bike, BMX bike, lots of places to do that, mountain bike the same. It's a really good area to bike in, which is really why I started this channel, just to show some of the cool rides. Some of them are nice, like this one, safe, but there are some areas that, just like any city, that are fairly sketchy, that we'll do some of those rides too. If you're curious, I'm using the GoPro, newest GoPro. It's the first time I've ever owned a GoPro. The black, is it the 13? I don't know what it says on it. It's the newest one. December 3rd, 2023. The GoPro I'm using, if you're curious, I have some external mics, but I bought the media mod for this, which came with the windshield, so I'm going to see how it does. If the audio is not great, I'll end up, I have a couple options for external mics. I have a couple different options from Rode. I have their wireless mic, which I could use, and then I also have the wired mic from Rode that you can hook right onto the media mod. So we'll see how the audio is. I'd rather not have to use either of those if this works, and it's fairly windy today, so this ought to be a good test run. But we're on Riverside right now. We're going south, and we're going to go through what's called the Greenbelt. The Pocket Greenhaven, it's cool because right through this neighborhood is a series of parks that you can ride through or walk through, and that's this ride we're going to go on today. The loop's about 7-8 miles depending on the exact route you take for a full loop. So it's a good little ride, lunchtime ride, or just to get out and get a little bit of exercise. Howdy. This canal here comes straight from the Sacramento River and actually runs into a couple private areas in the Pocket Greenhaven neighborhood, which makes some little lakes. There's 2 of them, and they're private. You can't get in there. I've been in there following a car, and then I got stuck because you can't get out, and they don't love you in there. But that's kind of neat. But the problem with this canal, which turns into the lake, is the water's kind of gross. So you don't ever see anybody in those lakes swimming. And you'll see up here further, maybe you'll get a better look. Sometimes the water is green, but in that water you'll see lots of turtles in the summer. Turtles out sunning themselves, tons of ducks, which we might see on this ride. Lots of carp in this canal. And some folks will fish for the carp and eat them, which carp is not good eating, but people do it. You can also get bass in there too sometimes. Probably salmon. I've never seen that, but you know, in the Sac River you get lots of bass and salmon, especially during the salmon run. I would imagine some get in there. There's some ducks, what's plural duck? Just ducks, duck. Sometimes those duck, will get a duck in my, hi, hey buddy. Sometimes I'll get duck in my, ducks? Man, that, sometimes there'll be a duck in my pool, which is interesting. I actually had a duck lay an egg in my pool, not in my pool, but in my backyard, and protect the egg until Raven got it. But little duck. This is a neat little ride, and it gets used. This little, they call it the Greenbelt, gets used a lot, especially in the summer. But I mean, it's December here and you still see people going. Why you would need an umbrella on a cloudy day in December when it's dry, that's a mystery. Huh. Maybe they think it's gonna rain, but maybe they're smarter than me. Hey there. I have the head harness for this GoPro. I've also purchased a body harness. I don't know if that'll film better. If you're watching and you are more experienced with the GoPro, let me know the best way to film these rides. Because I'm just playing with it now. But so if we took a left here, we would now go through the Greenbelt. We're going to loop around though, get a little more distance on the ride. Gone about 2 miles. You can see These trees have just hammered this path. The roots have just absolutely mangled under this path. I don't know if you can tell, but it makes it super bumpy right in here because of these major, massive trees. The other thing nice about Sacramento is when you get on most of the major roads, there's a nice big bike lane, which is nice. And perfect weather for biking. Gets hot in the summer, but you know, big summer rides, you just got to go early in the day. Not very light out today. I'm curious how the footage will be because it's a little cloudy today. Kind of low light, if it will pick it up very well. This might be one of the, it's a fun ride for me. Might be kind of a boring ride to watch because we're not going through some of the rougher parts of town. But in future videos, I plan on doing rides where there's some stuff to see. Downtown, West Sacramento, especially at night. There's some interesting parts of town that you want to be careful. Unfortunately, there's been a huge rise in homeless camps, and that just brings littering and crime, and it's just not good for anybody. It's not good for the homeless. It's not at all good to live like that. It's not good for regular folks. It's just not good. So you'll see a couple of these overpasses on this Greenbelt, so you don't have to go on any road, which is cool. One that goes over Florin, one that goes over, I think, Gloria, a couple different streets, roads. This gal right here, she walks up and down this overpass all the time, just back and forth. I see her all the time right here. Kind of interesting. I'd get bored of that, but she doesn't. Good for her though. On your left. Hi there. Just right on your left. Hey, how are you? It's a good dog. sometimes some of these cyclists are kind of jerks. They give cyclists a bad name. And sometimes I'm that person too, to be honest. Going too fast or cutting in front of cars. But I noticed when I'm driving, it's easy to not like cyclists because they do stupid stuff. And like I said, sometimes I'm that person. So I try to be extra extra friendly, just to show people that not all people on a BMX bike or a road bike or a mountain bike, I do it all, are jerks. I have about, between my brother and I mean, we have about 30 BMX bikes. Everything from old school to new school. This is kind of a newer Sunday. This is a nice bike. It was, I don't know, $600-700 when I bought it. Rides beautifully. I think it's a 26-inch, which I'm not very tall, fits me just fine. There's some of the bigger 28s, and they're big. I have a 27 or a 20. And 29s. I have a 27.5. Getting my sizes all mixed up. But I have it framed. Hello, 27.5. Lots of 20s. 24. Couple of the big boys. Hi there.
You have the, you know, a place where you've got twins.
Got some water too.
Hello.
Oh yeah. Burn me.
The 29-inch BMX bikes, there's some sweet ones, but just so big for me. I'm about 5'6", so I'm not very tall. I kind of like the smaller ones just to be able to mess around on. A little bit easier, but those rippers are cool. which I have one 129 big ripper, but like I say, they're big and they're pricey. As you can see, the Greenbelt, man, what a cool area just through the neighborhood to be able to ride, avoid traffic or walk. You see a lot of people walking. When it gets windy through here, it'll knock down a lot of trees. And there's been a few big trees that have been knocked down in the last year from a big windstorm. Sacramento has, I don't know, probably one big windstorm a year. I'm from Wyoming. It's windy all the time. It's not near as windy in Sacramento, which is nice because I hate riding in the wind. It's a little bit windy today, in fact. See how this windscreen does on my GoPro Media Mod. Hey-oh. Hey there. Kill them with kindness, not all cyclists are douches. This overpass goes over Riverside, and Riverside is probably the main road in Greenhaven Pocket neighborhood. You can ride on it, but the speed limit's 40, which means people go 50, some go 60, and then people text, and it's a good way to get blindsided. Hello. So that's the Greenbelt. It's the end of it. If you were to go up here, in fact, we'll pop up here real quick, you'll see the river. And this levee, you should be able to ride it the entire way for the loop, but unfortunately there's a couple fences that have been put up. Big controversy in Sacramento is around the levee here along the Sacramento, because people have private easements and they don't want people on the levee where their private easement is. The issue is there's just a couple little private spots, but that takes away access of the levee because there's fences, which is a big pain in the ass. I admittedly go around the fences and get yelled at. But here's the Sacramento River. If you go this way, you'd get down to downtown. You go this way, we'd do the loop. But we're not going to go that way because there's a fence. One of these days we will. Maybe we'll get a guy yelling at me, which happens quite often. Howdy. We're about probably 7.5 miles from downtown Sacramento if we were going the other way, which is a neat ride too. And again, it would be a great ride if you could ride the levee the whole way to Sacramento, which would take you right into Old Sac. You can ride a lot of it, but again, there's fences because of those easements. And big controversy around, should there be fences, should there not be fences? The city says they're not going to grant new fences. They took some down. but then some ended up getting put back up without permission. So, and I get it. I get if I was a property owner by the levee, which I am, by the way, that you don't want people up there, but it's at the same time, you don't own the levee, right? And because of your little private easement, you take away access from people to be able to ride the levee all the way into town. And in fact, if the levee was fully open, you could ride from the Pocket Greenhaven neighborhood all the way to Folsom Lake, pretty much all on a trail, which round trip you're looking at 95 miles, which I've done. Not all on the levee because some of the parts are blocked off, but it's about 95 miles if you go from the middle of the Pocket to Folsom Lake and back. And really the only time you're not on a trail is those little spots to get around the easements. And then once you hit Old Sac, there's the American River Bike Trail, which goes all the way to Folsom Lake. You do have to hit Folsom, go on a couple streets to pop back on the trail, but it's an awesome, the American River Bike Trail is fantastic. And to be able to go a round trip 95 miles, or just one way 45, I don't know how you get back though, all on trail, and you see cool stuff. Not a terribly tough ride, but it does get pretty uphill from Folsom to Folsom Lake. But that's a video I'll do at some point. It's a great neighborhood to live in. Lots of nice houses. It's expensive, but lots of nice houses, low crime in this area. You don't really see homeless, that kind of stuff in the Pocket Greenhaven part of Sacramento. But because of that, it is expensive. But it kind of reminds me of living in Wyoming, this kind of neighborhood. I grew up in Cody, Wyoming, and it reminds me, this neighborhood, a lot of Cody. And this is in Sacramento. It's in city limits of Sacramento mailing address. So it's just got a small town feel. The negative of the Greenhaven Pocket area is there's not a ton of shopping or restaurants, that kind of thing. It's mostly just houses. There's a few things, but gone about just 5.5 miles or so. We are going to pop on Riverside. Riverside's the street I was saying that the speed limit's 40, which means people go 50 and some go 60. Always have your head on a swivel, especially with people texting. I guess when it's your time, it's your time. That's kind of the way I look at it. I mean, I don't want to get hit, but I love riding. So there's inherent risk in everything. I don't want to jinx myself here. the Elks. We're gonna go back off of Riverside toward the levee. It's just the way I like to go. It's a little bit longer and you get off of Riverside. Sacramento, you can even ride from Sacramento to Davis, California, which is going towards the bay. They put a causeway trail right off the interstate. That's kind of a fun ride too. There's so many good rides in the Sacramento area. I started by road biking a lot and did some bike tours. I had a Trek 520, front rack, back rack, panniers, the whole thing. Some people even go down Highway 1, which is along the Pacific. You can ride from, I don't know, wherever you want, but a lot of people do like San Francisco down to San Luis Obispo or San Diego even, along Highway 1. But that's pretty sketchy, man. There's some areas on Highway 1 that there is not a lot of shoulder, if any. But I started doing that with my Trek 520, doing some touring stuff, and then I bought a, and that's steel. Trek 520 is like a tank. I've since sold it, and they don't make the 520 anymore, but that thing's tried and true for a touring bike. That or the Surly long haul, those are the two. But then I bought a road bike, a Bianchi steel bike. That thing was sweet. Got rid of that though. I have a custom-made Calfee carbon fiber. If you don't know about Calfee bikes, look them up. It's a guy, Calfee, out of Santa Cruz. Man, he hand makes these bikes, and they're sweet, they're nice, they're expensive, but they are nice. He also makes bamboo bikes out of bamboo. I don't have one of those, but he makes bamboo touring bikes. Pretty neat, some of the stuff he does. He made, I believe, Greg LeMond's bike that he won the Tour de France on back in the day, and he still makes that style of bike. The bike I have from Calfee, the frame itself, I mean, thousands of dollars. I bought mine used. I got kind of a steal on it, but brand new, they are pricey. But mine's in great shape, never been crashed to my knowledge. I haven't crashed it, and looked great when I got it. What's interesting is I bought this, Santa Cruz is just a couple hours away from here, and I bought it online. The guy had it in Minnesota, so it went from Santa Cruz to Minnesota back to Sacramento. But then I went from riding road bikes a lot, doing some mountain biking, and then I started getting into BMX. Just because my nephew, he's 11, but when he was about 8, he started getting into BMX, and made me think of when I was a kid. You know, I had a Diamondback Mike Dominguez when I was a kid, 20-inch. So, you know, I bought a GT 20-inch. I also have a GT Pro Performer, the old school I just bought not long ago. A 24.5. I got this Sunday. Bunch of Haros, bunch of Diamondbacks, everywhere from old school to mid school to new school. And unless I'm going on a super long ride, I just prefer riding my BMX. And even sometimes a fairly long ride. I mean, I'll put 60, 70 miles on my BMX in a day, easy, no problem. But if I'm gonna ride to like Davis and back, which is about 50 miles, or Folsom Lake and back, which is 95, definitely probably would take my Calfee. Or I would have taken my Trek, my touring bike, but like I said, I sold it. Cool little neighborhood through here though. Gone about 7.5 miles on this little loop, getting toward the end of it. Some cool cars. The levee just right there where the Sacramento River. Like I said, it'd be a lot nicer if we could be on that levee, but these are the people right here, these houses, that get pissed at you. So when I'm up on that levee, which I am occasionally, I've had people come out and hoot and holler and yell, and I just ignore them. So one guy had a sprinkler set to motion, so you'd ride by it and the sprinkler would go on and get you. But the problem was he had it set up in the summer. It's nice and hot. It was actually refreshing. The sprinkler would hit you, cool you off a little bit. But these are the houses that they don't like you up there. But we'll go up there for a video. Oh yes, we will. This house up here is one of the original farmhouses back when all this area used to be farmland. People were duck hunting right here. And if you look at this farmhouse with all the cool Christmas stuff, that's one of the originals. And they always put up cool stuff for Christmas and Easter and Halloween. And it's cool at night. And then their little neighbor house does it too. But that's the original. There's even a farmhouse just right by, just down from that, that's still got a barn and stuff. One of the original farmhouses. It'd be a trip to see what this area looked like 70 years ago. Like I say, people used to duck hunt right here. And if you just go across the river, it's still like that now. There's not houses. It's essentially barren. You'll hear coyotes and stuff just on the other side of the river. There's a road on the other side of the river here, Old River Road, but there's no shoulder to ride on. I've done it. It's not smart. We could pop up right here if we wanted, but we're not gonna. Not today, because we're about done. Hello. Love these houses, but they do want a lot for them. The other cool thing about this neighborhood, especially back in here with these houses, is if you don't live back in here, you have no reason to be back in here. So it does keep the riffraff out. It's partly why crime is low in this area. And being that there's not a lot of restaurants and businesses, again, there's really no reason to be back in here unless you live in here. So a good place to live if you're ever looking in Sacramento. Pocket Greenhaven, great neighborhood, but it is expensive. Of course, it's California. Well, we're going to hit Riverside again. That's the Pocket Greenhaven loop through the Greenbelt. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, we'll see you later.